All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next step to creating our mind map is to do some thumbnail sketches. In order to do this, you are going to get a strip of paper, you are going to get a tracer, and you are going to turn to a completely blank sketchbook page. The whiter the better. This is much easier to do on a page that doesn't have any kind of staining from making sketchbook pages. So, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to glue this strip to your page. It's not a whole lot of glue, just right around the edge like you're always supposed to. Now, when we flip this, you can put it along any edge of the paper that you want. Do not just put it in the center. It will make it very difficult to do what we need to do with the tracers. So you could put it along this side, or you can put it along this side. I'm going to put it along this side today. You can also turn your page vertical and put it along one of these sides. That's fine too. Because the next thing you're going to do is take that tracer and you're going to trace it 4 times, however it fits. You can do this very organized and make all your edges nice and straight and parallel. You can make them kind of tilty. You can do horizontal and vertical. I think I'm going to do horizontal and vertical this time around. Because remember, your sketchbook cover can be either horizontal or vertical. You just need to make sure they don't overlap and that the edges, you see all 4 edges. So you can't have one edge going off the page. So now that I've traced my 4, now we're going to go over what needs to go in each. Now, this time around, unlike last year when we did this with graffiti, we still need to have the rules of a good composition, but we only need 2. Now, not being centered can be one of them. Cropping should be one of them. Overlapping is going to be really hard to have this time around, and you're going to see that in a minute when I start mine, so don't worry about that one. Balance is also going to be really hard to have, so you're probably going to avoid that one. And you are going to be filling the space, so you can choose any of these 3, any 2 of these 3 to follow. And in order to do these, we need to know what needs to be in each box. Now these boxes are kind of small, so what we're going to do is this is going to be a very, very rough copy. So, the first thing that it needs to include is your name as a background pattern. That is the one of these right here from this worksheet here. It includes your silhouette, large and filling the space. You are going to get a copy of the photograph that I'm going to take of you in order to trace. So those are going to be relatively big. The last thing you need to have is your silhouette divided and filled. Now this is what we're going to do that's going to be very rough. So I'm going to show you on this one. So first, I'm going to draw my silhouette big. It doesn't have to be perfect. Give it a circle where the head goes. Give it a nose so I know which direction you're facing. And you can choose to face either direction. And then you're going to go back to the page you had before and figure out which division do you like better. So maybe I like my kind of rounded one that's here. So then, I need to erase that. I use that same division to divide it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I go back here and I figure out that this was art, this was video games, this was reading. I don't have to do all the designs inside. This is very rough. I've already got the designs inside, where they're much bigger and easier to see. Sewing, photo, and cooking. Alright, now I have to decide with this pattern and this background space that I have, which one of these am I going to do? Maybe I will do my big one. So then, behind the head, and it's okay if part of your name gets covered. So I've got my C. This is kind of where you might get some overlapping. but not really. E, S, S, E, R. Alright, so now let's go back here. Do I have my name as a background? Yes. And what you may want to do if you're having trouble telling what's your name and what's not, you may want to just color it in just a little bit, so it's a little easier to see. Doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, so I have my name as a background. I have my silhouette that's large and filling the space. My head is divided and filled. It's not centered, so don't just put your head like that. That's not a very interesting composition. Move it to one side or the other, kind of one corner, one edge, up, down, left, right. Not centered. So this one's not centered. It has cropping. My head's going off. I've got some of my letters going off. And it's filling the page, which means it has a background, which it does. It has objects that touch 3 or more sides. Now that's a little trickier because we really don't have objects this time around. But my head is going off the page, and we've got that background pattern going off the page. So the page is filled. There's no big empty spaces. So you need to do this to all 4 of your boxes. You can use the same head or you can use different heads. If you look here, you can do horizontal or vertical. You can use any of your background patterns, and you can even tweak some of these. So you can do small ones, you can do big ones, you can do big or small ones. You could even try doing the big font with the font that you chose to do the little one with, whatever combination you want. But use these. If you can't come up with anything, there's no saying I don't know what to do, because you can use any of these. You need to fill all 4 of these, and then you will move on to your final draft.